guys, today we are looking at some comprehension tools. This was based on your iReady. So I am going to scan a copy of this into Schoology so that you can see it, and you would be able to watch this video and read along. Now we're reading a story called, it's a folk tale, which is a folk tale is a story about animals who typically talk. We can think of a few of those, like the Big Bad Wolf or Little Red Riding Hood. Any of those stories are folk tales, and you'll learn more about folk tales as you go on in school. But we're going to read Gator Finds Trouble. Long ago, Gator floated on a river, chatted with Rabbit. Gator bragged about how great the river life was, which really bugged Rabbit. Life in the water is best, Gator said, as he grinned a toothy alligator grin. Rabbit was determined to ignore Gator because he valued their friendship. Rabbit, Gator solemnly declared, how can you live on land? The river is superior. I pity the land creatures. Gator's words insulted Rabbit. Rabbit sighed and said, well, we do have trouble living on land. Gator wanted to know more. What is trouble? You've never met trouble? Rabbit asked. No. What is trouble like? Rabbit was crafty. He knew how to get even with Gator for his insults. Trouble is, well, I'm not good at describing trouble. Meet me here tomorrow and I'll introduce you. Gator eagerly accepted Rabbit's invitation and went home. The next morning, Gator shined the silver armor of scales that covered his body. Back then, alligator scales were completely smoothed and polished. Gator smiled proudly at his elegant, good looks. He loved how his silver shone so brightly. Why are you all prettied up? Mrs. Gator asked. Gator didn't want her tagging along. Just to meet Rabbit, he said. Mrs. Gator wondered what exactly was going on. Mr. Gator had never cared about his appearance with Rabbit before. She pestered him until he finally told her the truth. But you can't come, Gator told his wife firmly. I can't have you crowding in on my time with trouble. Mrs. Gator agreed to stay home, but had no intention of letting Gator go without her. She slipped into the water and quietly followed her husband's trail, unaware that her five curious children silently swam in a line behind her. When Gator reached the meeting place, he couldn't find Rabbit anywhere. Rabbit had hid in the reeds holding a small torch. Gator decided to nap until trouble arrived. Rabbit waited until he heard Gator's snores, and he tiptoed closer and noticed Mrs. Gator curled up and napping in a pitch of grass while her 5 little children napped nearby. Rabbit checked the direction of the wind. I don't want my friends to get hurt, he thought. He shook some coals from the torch onto the grass, which instantly caught on fire. Then Rabbit found a stump and sat on it while he waited for the fun to begin. The fire raced across the dry grass, and the smell of smoke awakened Gator, his wife and children. Gator spotted his family and hurried over. He wasn't angry that they had followed him. He was just happy they were safe. One child pointed with her tail to the fire eating the grass in a bright orange blaze and cried, "What's that?" Gator didn't know this world was made of water and mud. He knew nothing of fire. It is trouble, another child asked. Or is it trouble? Another child asked. Yes, Gator agreed. This is trouble. The fire was pretty. Gator had never seen anything like it, so he and his family stayed to watch it. "Hello, Trouble," Gator said. "How are you today?" As the fire grew closer to them, they could feel its heat, but they didn't move because they didn't want to frighten it. The fire came close, and the sparks landed on the backs of the Gator family. Their smooth silver armor was thick, so the bits of fire didn't hurt them, but it did make their armor crinkle up, just like a piece of paper that's on fire. Gator yelled, "Oh no! Trouble is hurting our beautiful armor! Run for the river!" They all did. Rabbit and Gator. Rabbit said to Gator, "Now that you've met Trouble, you won't want to meet him again. Stay in your precious river. Don't come this far on land again." The Gator family slid into the river, and the water hissed loudly as it hit their hot armor. Once they were safe, Gator surveyed the damage. Their shiny silver armor had turned green and crinkled, just as the alligator skin is today. Gator knew Rabbit had tricked him, so he warned his friend to never come near the river. Even today, rabbits fear alligators and won't go near the water. And the slightest noise that sounds like fire sends gators scurrying for the water. They've met Trouble, and they don't want to meet it again. All right. So when you are talking with whoever you're talking to, maybe it's with another student or a teacher or your guardian, when you are responding with textual evidence, because I'm going to have you do this, you can't see it. I'm going to have you do the responding with textual evidence. After you read Gator Finds Trouble, because I want you to read it again on your own, or listen to me read it, I want you to think about the story, and I want you to respond to the question with textual evidence using the sentence frame provided. So there are sentences on here that you can use to determine your response. All right? So number 1, the first one says, "Why doesn't Rabbit tell Gator what trouble is?" And your sentence starter is, "I think." And then it says, "because the text says." The next question is, what can we infer about Gator based on how Rabbit and Mrs. Gator treat him? You can say, "I think," as a sentence starter, and you can also work and find out what the text says and say, "because the text says." Did the Gator family know what fire was when they first saw it? You can say, "I think," and then "because the text says." And then our last and final question, why did Rabbit choose to trick the Gator with fire instead of something else? And you can say, "I think." You can use and infer, "I think," and find your evidence by saying "because the text says." All right, so I'm going to make sure that you have a copy of this in Schoology so that you will be able to read it again. And there are a couple of words that are highlighted on the sheet. One is the word determined. And determined means to make a firm decision. Solemnly means seriously. Elegant, fine, or rich in quality. And there may be a few other words that you don't know. If there are, how about you look them up on your own and find out what those are, okay? If you have any questions, please email me and make sure that you turn in those questions in Schoology, okay? Hope you guys have a good day.